Right there. We're live. So, hi, this is Tom Quigley, and I'm with Chill Coffee, and today I'm with Brandon from Curaleaf and Dr. Medvedovsky. You're down in Bonita Springs, correct?
Yeah, well, I've been down here all week. It's 710 oil show or 710 day. So it's oil day. We're out just selling and taking care of people.
And Andrew, where are you located at?
I'm in Lady Lakes, Florida, in the Villages.
Land O'Lakes in the Villages, and I'm over here in Tampa. So we got almost like a little West Coast pathway here. Well, today's 710, and Nugtopia, is putting on this great event, and I figure it's just a great way for us all to connect and see what's going on in the world of cannabis during the crazy days that we're having with COVID. And I think we've extended telemedicine for our physicians. And what do you do? What are you seeing down there, Brandon?
Down here, we're seeing a lot of heat. It's very, very hot out today. Bonita's an interesting market. I think Florida in general is a very interesting market because you have a very diverse group of people with their experience with cannabis or not experience with it. And we're just basically, we bring people in and we take each person, as needed and address them how they need to be instead of cookie cuttering them through. So basically all day we just take them as they come and juggle up. We do consultations. If you're someone that has been around, you know what you need, then we just make it quick and we get you out of there. And it's one of the, down here in this area especially, one of their favorite things is we get them in and out when that's all they need.
It's important. It's really important.
As needed and address them how they need to be instead of cookie cuttering them through. So basically all day we just take them as they come and juggle up. We do consultations. If you're someone that has been around, you know what you need, then we just make it quick and we get you out of there.
Are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, excellent. I was just sharing the page. Sorry. And Andrew, why don't you fill us in a little bit on what you're seeing with patients with what's going on with COVID, and have you seen anything different with this week in particular?
Well, I'm a pain management specialist, and our practice here is very busy, high volume intervention pain practice. So obviously with the COVID, we couldn't do any procedures for the patients, and it's been challenging for most of our patients, but we've still been operating. I personally worked every day of the week. We were still seeing patients. Some were seen in the parking lot, but we kept on rolling. This week, business continues. I'm seeing a lot less volume. I think either patients are flying back to their north residencies during the summer months, but we're still pretty busy.
Now, Brandon, have you seen a big uptick in home delivery with Curaleaf, with everything going on? People wanting to shorten their time in the store, and what are you seeing on that end, especially with the holiday? Any spikes in sales for oil?
Well, yeah, with the deals that we're running, Curaleaf always has tons of deals going on. So anytime there's a holiday, it's extra busy. With COVID, we've seen a huge influx of home delivery, so much that it's usually the next day we're able to get it there. Now we're 2 days out. To facilitate that, though, instead of just pulling directly away from curbside delivery, like we take every patient, we do it, as needed per person. So even though we're taking people inside right now, if you call and you want us to help you out in the parking lot or any other way, we still do that. So I think the biggest success we've had through all this is just staying diverse and helping people the way they need to be helped instead of dictating to them what they need to do. That's been the best thing down here. People come in, it's one of the things they appreciate the most. And it may not even be someone sick. It might just be a mom that has her children with her, or perhaps a mom that has her mom with her who, doesn't want to be put in a situation like that. We just take care of them.
And as a patient, I've noticed, I ordered from Curaleaf last month and I got 50% off as a new patient ordering there. I thought that was a great way to introduce me. And I ordered some brand new products, including the balm, and it gave me an opportunity because of what's happening to do delivery and try new products and try new things that are out there. And I think it's great because, a lot of patients previously never, even thought about having delivery or pre-ordering their products before coming into the locations, and many patients, sometimes order the wrong things, and then they're stuck with products. So I think it's giving people an opportunity to really plan out their product usage and either use products that are working for them or, try some new products in those lines, which I've actually done. And it's helped me to be more efficient with my milligram usage as a patient over this COVID. I look for the positives of what's happening, obviously, but I think that that's something that patients have been doing. And we don't want to run out. We don't want our medical cards to end. Are you seeing an uptick in patients, Andrew, that are wanting to do telemedicine for their follow-up visits so they don't, lapse in coverage, so to speak?
Well, for the most part, most patients in our practice are still coming in, at least in Lady Lakes. I think it's because many of them don't have the smartphones or the devices to log into telemedicine. And a lot of them actually enjoy coming out of the house. It's their only chance they have to actually come in and see us and have a conversation with someone besides going to the supermarket.
Yeah, interesting. That's a good point. And that's up in the villages, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, we have a we have a boomer generation there that is now consuming cannabis, medically, and shifting from some harmful pain medications. And I know you're a pain management physician. What have you seen with the shift in patients moving from, say, heavier pharmaceuticals to cannabis? Are you seeing success on that end?
Incredible. I've been in the villages since March, and I'm very surprised in a positive way by how receptive the patients are. And most of them come in, and I'm seeing two trends. A lot of them have cards that they haven't been actively using because they're worried about how their pain doctors are going to perceive them if they can be open about it. I'm very pro cannabis. I'm obviously very supportive of it, as long as they can reduce their opioids and have better function, quality of life. Others are curious, and they'll start the conversation softly, and they'll mention, what do you think about cannabis? And I'm obviously pro them going forward with it, getting a card, trying it out. So they feel very, very encouraged when they see my response. But it's incredible here. There's a lot of doctors here who recommend cannabis. A lot of patients here are very active. They're looking for all modalities to keep active, to improve the quality of life. And it's incredible working here. I'm really enjoying myself. It's a great population of patients who I think are really benefiting from medical cannabis and from Curaleaf being accessible to them.
And it's great because, my mom's a boomer and she's 72. Unfortunately, she's in the hospital right now. She just recently got diagnosed with bladder cancer. And she's doing immune therapy, and so she's trying to figure out good ratios. But she realizes that the medications that she's been on and the pills have really damaged her kidneys over the years. And I think that a lot of other patients that are in that age range, they're retired and they're willing to try this, especially even though it's still on the edge for a lot of them without the research that's come out, but they're helping each other to understand that this isn't dangerous and it's really helping, and it's extending the quality or providing a better quality of life, for not only the younger patients that have been, more on the edge and risky and ready to do it, that the education that Curaleaf and the physicians are doing with these senior patients, so to speak, is going a long way.
But, the people here are special in the different ways. You're seeing a large population living in one town, and they all come here, I think, to really enjoy, I would imagine, their golden years. And they've been looking forward. They work hard. They've worked their lives. Their kids are grown. And, at this point in their lives, there are different issues, not just chronic pain. There's anxiety, there's depression, there's illnesses. They are sometimes widowed, they're lonely. So I find them benefiting from cannabis, not just for the chronic pain, for other elements as well. And that's where I'm really seeing the benefits in a lot of the seniors that are coming through this practice.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear because, they say, how cannabis brings your body back into homeostasis. But, we're seeing it in whole communities, in places like the villages where, maybe 10 years ago, they were indulging in maybe some other type of social behaviors, extended alcohol usage, or, and they still enjoy glasses of wine and some alcohol to a point, I'm sure. But, being able to have a choice of a social lubricant to enjoy your, your retirement years, the years where you're supposed to be enjoying it, doing something that now is totally legal to do has to be refreshing to them in so many ways, and rewarding to you and Curaleaf as well to be able to provide that.
Definitely. Yep. I'm actually right now seeing patients primarily for procedural chronic pain practice. There's several doctors in the community who we work with who are recommending cannabis. So we're working with several other physicians outside of current practice who are recommending and managing the cannabis prescriptions. So
that's great. And Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, but Curaleaf has a senior discount, correct? That's all the time?
Yeah, 10% off right off the top. Even more than that, though, one of the cool things about Curaleaf is we give $5 back or $1 back for every $20 you spend. And if you balance things right and you're a loyal patient to our dispensaries, you can't beat the prices that we have, period.
I noticed that on your specials alone, and like I just ordered more flour because it's a great value. And then, I was trying to look for a senior patient that came in the other day, and they said they didn't know of any dispensaries that had it. And I told them Curaleaf did, and, they were surprised, and, they were extremely happy because people's budgets are very tight. And, when you start using multiple different modalities of cannabis, it can get quite expensive for the patient, obviously.
Yeah, I think the important thing there is, the budget, and you can't really put a price on wellness or happiness or being comfortable in life to an extent. So when people come in, one of the first things that we always do is try to get the best deal for everybody. We're not a dispensary where you make a call, you order 2 things, we put it, and you're gone. We like to look at everybody's history. We like to look at what deals are going on. And we're the dispensary that will call you and be like, hey, Tom, I see you're getting 2 flower, but if you buy 1 more, you get 1 free. So even though you might have to shell a little bit more out front, you're getting more value back to yourself. And that comes right from the top, like straight from Maria, who I report to. It's take care of the people that, are here to be taken care of.
That's fantastic. And, going off the subject a little bit, well, staying kind of on it, have you guys heard of any, and I have heard of this, green retirement homes, that they're actually having some rehab retirement homes that are allowing cannabis use by their residents and their patients? Yeah,
there's actually one in around Dunedin. I heard about the other day. Yeah, my friends in our
process in Jacksonville too, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think the hardest thing for people at that age or that stage in life is you were told for so long that this thing might not be good for you or might even be bad for you.
If you look in the background, that's my aunt. Where'd she go? She heard, she's my mom's sister. She's 72 as well. But she asked me today about THCV because she watched one of these sessions where they were talking about THCV and how it works with appetite suppression. And so she was like, can you teach me more about that? So, I mean, there's so much for people to learn, and they're intrigued.
Well, that's why I love where Dr. Andrew's at, because I call it, the bridge effect. I think a lot of people, they come from that background where they're told these things, but then now they're in a large community like that with people like them together. And one person goes and gets their card, and all of a sudden everybody notices, wow, what is going on with Brandon? Because he has a pep in his step. And now people can be, safe having a card to be like, it's marijuana. I've been using marijuana. I used to ground my kid for it. Now I think I should call him and apologize because I feel so good.
Yeah.
I love where he's at. I think it's a great place. And I think you're at the epicenter where the change is really happening with that demographic of people. So thank you for being there. I think it's a great spot.
Incredible. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And people here, they're all for getting better. I mean, they're looking for every possible tool they can get their hands on. And it's definitely an interesting community. I mean, with all the golf carts running around, it's like a different world.
Yeah, I mean, I really think this is a great thing for Florida, and I think it's a great thing for the world. But Florida specifically, I was telling Tom earlier, in my head as a 20-year-old guy traveling around and learning this, it was always marijuana and margaritas. This is where people go to feel good. It's where you go to spend the last better years of your life the best way you can. And I mean, that's always in my head. I couldn't be more happy to be down here with such a diverse, amazing group of people to work with and serve. It's amazing.
I agree with you.
It really is. And when you think back, and I tell this story all the time, and 7 years went by so fast from 2013 or 14 till now. And now we have, a live session where we have a holiday, so to speak, on 7/10, which is based oil upside down. If you look at that upside down, that's what it means is the oil. And, that's what, I love the shirt. I love the shirt.
I'll get you guys a couple. I'll bring them by.
Yeah. And we were indoctrinated into cannabis in Florida with oil because we had no smokable flower. So it's, ironic that, now we're able to have an actual day that is symbolic almost for these cannabis users and consumers that they can take advantage of and maybe get a special at the dispensary because it's 7/10 day. It's really a change from 5 years ago or even 4 years ago when we were having to explain to people that CBD wasn't psychoactive even. And that these parents were using this to stop the seizures. So I feel good about it. And I know the future is, a few states are a little bit ahead of us. We were speaking earlier. Arizona is about 2 years ahead of us in the medical market. And they have a more horizontal market where there's brands that there's crossovers between different dispensaries and consumers have been able to start building loyalty to brands, so to speak. But here, we have our vertical market. So we have a different, just like we started out with oil different. And I've told everybody, every market is different. Florida is never going to be the same as it is in California or Arizona or, Nevada to that speak. But, we are advancing. More patients are feeling comfortable coming into the program, and they're looking for things to do socially. And I feel that in the future, we're going to have more social type events for patients to be able to go and have consumption and, be able to be around other patients. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, it's from where we were a year ago, how we're able to market and reach out to people. It's come an extremely long way. There's still a really long way to go. I mean, that's really how you get the word out, is by being out in the public. And I really hope that we get out there. I know that Curaleaf used to not even do in-store events. Now we do. We used to not team up with doctors. Now we do. Everything's really heading in the right direction as far as I can see from my perspective in this industry.
I agree. And, the physicians, they're the first touch with the patient into the market, so, your job is extremely important, what you're doing up there, yours and all the other physicians. I call every one of them frontline workers right now because, anxiety is at its height. So many people are dealing with scenarios, whether it's loss of income or, fear, and, it's becoming more of a natural thing to deal with and get your medical card and deal with anxiety or even talk about that around the kitchen table with grandma now because of the work that's being done by, not only our physicians, our dispensaries, the patients that are sharing their stories. And it's really a cumulative effort on everybody's part. So what else do you think, Andrew, that we could do on 7/10 to share with our family and friends, during our times at home that can make them more comfortable, the ones that haven't, taken this step over?
Well, I mean, it's a tough question. I mean, honestly, I think there's the ones who are comfortable. They don't have any questions. They don't have any doubts. I'm seeing a lot of people who've tried it, but they really haven't continued with the program. and really it's for a few reasons. Either one, they weren't getting the results they're looking for, and that's really because they haven't given it enough time, or maybe they bought oil and they used too much of it first time, and they're a little bit, whoa, this is way different, and it's a bad thing. It's just you went overboard. It's like if you go to the gym for the first time in 5 years and spend 3 hours, you're going to be in bed for a week, sore. So, I think it's that education and that simplistic approach that's missing. I think a lot of them, they come in and it has advanced from since they were, in college, I guess in the 60s. Now there's a whole menu and oils and options, and it's like there's numbers, and they really can't grasp that there's science behind the plan and why there's different percentages and different amounts. And I think once they understand it and it makes sense, then they're more receptive to it. If that
It
makes
is
sense.
overwhelming. It is overwhelming walking in and seeing oils and distillates and tinctures and patches and the flower is simple. You know what you're looking at, but it is overwhelming. But at the same time, that social acceptance or the acceptance of the products and the understanding starting from their first visit with their physician is really important. And I guess a warning that just like what you just said, if you go into the gym and you train too hard, you're going to be injured and you're not going to be able. If you picked up alcohol for the first time and you drank a whole bottle of tequila, think how you're going to feel. So those comparisons are important.
I agree with you. I also think that a lot of times, like in my field, where people come in, they're in pain, and they ask, "Will this help my pain?" And it's a very hard question to answer because pain is not one-dimensional. When you have pain, you have anxiety, you have insomnia, you're frustrated, you're dealing with other aspects of your life. So, I tell them, look, if you try cannabis and you sleep better, you're going to feel better. If you feel better, you're going to have less pain. If you have less anxiety, if you're less tense and stressed, your pain will be better managed. So once they sort of understand how to actually analyze how they feel and if it helps or not, it's a different perspective. I think it's very important to give goals and expectations on what to expect. Because when you look at, is it going to help my back? Well, it's not going to fix your arthritis. It'll make it more manageable. I think once they understand what to expect, they're much more receptive and their outcomes are much better because they're not expecting a cure. They're actually analyzing and they're noticing, oh, I feel better. I'm not as, stressed, or I'm sleeping better. So that's where you're really seeing the good outcomes.
I agree with you. And that part of that is that education from that first step and going forward. Now, what else are you seeing in the villages as far as patients recovering from things or losing weight from coming to cannabis? Have you seen, what are the success stories, so to speak, that you've seen from some of your patients?
Oh my God. It's interesting. I mean, I moved from New Jersey a few months ago where I was very involved in the industry, and I had patients who were solely using cannabis for a lot of things. Here, I'm finding patients are using it, but in a more conservative way. I'm seeing a lot of topical usage, a lot of benefits from arthritic conditions, knees and elbows and back. That's really incredibly valuable. I'm not seeing really a lot of inhalational use. I'm seeing some oils. They're really comfortable with that, and topical. Those are probably the most popular. It's also possible that a lot of the patients who are doing really, really well don't come back to the pain doctors. And that's the other thing that I know, being in New Jersey, when I was doing both, having separate cannabis practice and pain practice, I would see patients on both ends of it. Here, I'm only seeing them on the pain management side. So that means a lot of the patients who are doing well, they don't really come back to the pain doctors, or they may come back once a year or so, or.
And you said something really important earlier. They're active adults in that community. So being able to golf an extra round a week because their arthritis is not active or flaring up on them, I'm sure is extremely important for quality of life of these, people that are utilizing, cannabis. You know, arthritis, I'm sure, the weather, the stress that's going on, sleeping, all plays a big part in those years, you know, of the patients that are in the villages area.
No, but I love it here, and honestly, for me, like, it makes my job really enjoyable because we do procedures, and one way to gauge how much better they are is by the activity levels. You know, if before treatment they couldn't do one round of golf, now they're playing 3 times a week, whether it's cannabis or our procedures. I have a real objective way to measure the outcomes, and that's incredible. And now I know, listen, if they're using Curaleaf's topical lotion on their knees, they're walking a mile a day. Without it, they can't. So we're able to actually see real objective outcomes, which is, I think, incredibly valuable, especially for this community.
Yeah, because that's another thing. You know, we talk so much about, you know, saving lives from cancer or stopping seizures from epilepsy, but there's so many people out there, they just want to feel good again. You know, right. You know, everybody said that, you know, we had a pain pill problem in this country, and really we have a pain problem because of aging and, you know, having debilitating diseases that, you know, diminish our quality of life. And it's great to hear that cannabis is bringing that back to a lot of the patients in your area, or your patients that you do these procedures with. Now, do you do any kind of protocols that help to wean them off pain and medication?
It's kind of a complicated question, and I'm going to give you a really short answer for it. You know, most pain doctors are still not really receptive to cannabis, and from what I hear from patients, it's really either or. If they're on any opioid medications and they go into the medical cannabis program, they have to pick one or the other. For me personally, if they're going to go with a cannabis program, I like to set goals and expectations that once you're a patient in a cannabis program, I'll work with you to wean down your opioids. That's the goal. But I'll give them a little protocol how to do it. We'll start, you know, month by month, taper down. It's not realistic, in my opinion, to cut them off cold turkey. It's not fair, because they're going to obviously give up on cannabis because of fears of withdrawal from not having their pain medications. So I find it's much more valuable, and they're much more willing to work with trying different strains, different products, if their pain doctor is on board, at least gives them a chance to get comfortable with cannabis before cutting them off or drastically reducing their regimen too quickly. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody's different, you know.
And as I'm sure if you know, I was addicted to opioids from 2007 to 2010, developed stage 3 liver disease from it. So I'm extremely familiar with the entire cycle, detoxing and getting off that. And I do a lot of talk with recovering people that are recovering from opioids, and also people that are working on weaning off. And it's an extremely scary thing. And, you know, a lot of patients are telling me, you know, when they hear my story, that they're afraid of their pain doctor cutting them off if they find out they start using cannabis. So having physicians that are really working with the protocols that are out there to help these patients is extremely important, because many still feel that they're stuck between a rock and a hard place with that transition. Do you know of any programs that are going out there to help other pain management physicians, you know, get acclimated like you are? Because, you know, I know you're not a rarity, but you're a rare occurrence from what I've seen with many other pain management physicians.
To be honest, no, I am not aware of any programs. I'm not aware of any protocols or guidelines. I mean, this is really more of an art and a science together. I mean, this is really, truly case by case. I mean, you really have to understand patients' psychology, their threshold, and their goals, and how willing they are to work with you. I mean, patients have to buy into your ideas. You know, it's very individual. There's no cookie cut out here. No, it's really case by case. I mean, they have to be mentally, physically there. They have to believe you, and they have to buy into your philosophy. That's the first thing. If they don't trust you, they're never going to want to do it. So I have to first gauge where they are mentally and physically, and then we begin the process together. So
now I guess that brings me to the next state. With a lot of your patients, do you actually suggest to them to examine cannabis, or are they coming to you asking that first?
No, I mean, look, we have a lot of patients who come in here once every couple of months to get an epidural injection. They're happy they're off to playing golf. We have patients who come in here for years and they've had 4 or 5 back surgeries and they're on medications and there's nothing we can offer them. And they ask, what are the options? And, I go, Wilson, here are the options. We can do a stimulator. We can do a pump. We can do an injection. You may want to look into acupuncture, look into cannabis, So again, I gauge their response. If they're, tell me about that. So look, here's what you can do. You can go see a doctor down the road. He'll get you a card and you can go to Curaleaf or, try so-and-so. It really depends. It's really case by case. If they ask, we'll have a conversation. If I feel it's something they can consider, it'll benefit them, I'll bring it up.
And it's good because that's not as hard of a conversation to have anymore, with what's happening here in the state. And, I don't know our exact count. Brandon, do you know how many patients we're up to in the state of Florida? Last time I checked, we were at like 350.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 365 or something last time I looked. So, and every 100,000 people, they let us open up more and more. So it's very important, not to put people in it that don't need it, but anybody that's interested to support that interest to try it out if you think it can be better, because in the long term, it's gonna be better for all the other patients that could use this.
Well, I don't have my calculator here, but we have 22 million people in the state. Maybe I can find it. And if we have, what percentage of the population is a patient right now? Where do you guys?
0.01. Not a lot.
It's a very, very small amount,
It's still above average.
And part of the reason why it's so small, and that's why we address it like this, because people, you're not a customer, you're a patient, and that's something that we've defined very early on. If I feel like other places I go as a patient, I go there and I get treated like a customer. And here we treat people like patients, and we respect that it's a small group of people and it's relatively new to everybody. And we just try to support that. And I think it's great the work that Dr. Andrew is doing, being open to that and knowing that it isn't for every single human being. It's not. There's cases where it might not work, but to be on the forefront as he is pushing that agenda, I think it's an amazing thing. We couldn't do it without them and without all of those patients that are in the program.
And that's what I was thinking was that, that number that we have so much to go up from here. There's so much growth that can happen in the state of Florida for this as an industry, and to improve the quality of life. Like we said before, it brings your body back into homeostasis, but it's bringing these communities back into homeostasis and balance, where, some of the more mature markets on the West Coast have shown an improvement to, the social well-being of their, the people that live there. And, we only have to go up from here.
Like Dr. Andrew said, a good night's sleep by itself can really make the difference in your quality of life. I know that for a fact, being on the road a lot and things, but it's the little things, we're just trying to make people's lives better. And that's really the truth of this entire industry. There's no secret thing behind it. There's nothing negative. It's really a large group of people that are very forward thinking, that want to find ways to make impacts and change people's lives and help them.
Excellent. Well, we went a little bit over. Before we end, though, would you like to add anything to it or tell us a little bit more about, how people can find more information about you, Dr. Medvedovsky, and as well as about Curaleaf for anybody that's not familiar with Curaleaf? I'll start with you, Doctor.
I'm currently working in Lady Lakes with a Florida Pain and Rehabilitation Center in Lady Lakes. We are currently not recommending cannabis. We're only seeing patients for interventional chronic pain issues, but I'm open to educating patients if they come in, and we have a group of doctors here in the area who we work with. So we're pretty open to new patients and helping them figure out the best treatment for them, whether it's injections or maybe it's cannabis with one of our affiliated doctors here. But if someone is looking for a pain management practice, we're here in the Villages.
Excellent, excellent. And Brandon, what were your specials for 710 today? You want to? I didn't have a chance to look at them before we got on.
It's good. Buy 3, get 1 free. Of course, You can use your loyalty points that you accrue during your visits. You can use those on any of the deals that we do. If you want to see what a dispensary is like, if you have a card, if you don't have a card, if you know someone that you think should have a card, you need to go to a Curaleaf. Everybody's welcome in our stores. You don't have to be a patient. Just go to curaleaf.com. You're going to see a picture pop up that looks like this. It'll be me. Just select your dispensary and go there. You tell them that you know Brandon, that you talked to him on the show today, and they will let you in. They'll sit you down. They'll take as much time as you need. They'll work with you. They'll work with your physician if they have particular things that they want. Curaleaf, we're here to help all of you guys. I think it's the biggest difference. I can't stress it enough. If you're going to go out and shop dispensaries, the first place you need to stop is here so you know what to compare it to.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, thank you. And, you know, as a patient, I appreciate what both of you are doing for the community and helping to grow the cannabis knowledge base of the people that are here. And, you know, we're helping people one day at a time. And, you know, it's much appreciated on my end from being a patient and just having the opportunity to see how this has grown. And, you know, I think Nugtopia had a special. If people ordered and used the Nugtopia, there was like a 20% off with Curaleaf as well. So anybody, I don't know if it's too late to order for today.
It's never too late.
Oh, so you guys can call in. Go ahead, call in and place your order. And yeah, I don't know when you can get it delivered, but we over here at Chill Coffee really appreciate you guys at Curaleaf as well. Where I just placed my order, I have it being delivered this Sunday. So thank you guys and have a great rest of your happy 7/10.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.